The summer heat hung thick over downtown that August afternoon. Sarah Mitchell sat beneath the faded awning of Murphy's corner store, her weathered hands clutching a paper cup. 3 years on these streets had carved lines into her 42-year-old face that made her look older. The kind woman who once taught piano lessons seemed like a distant memory now. Across the street, flames began licking through the second-floor windows of the old Henderson building. Sarah noticed it before anyone else. She stood slowly, her joints protesting. That's when she heard it. A child's cry, cutting through the growing noise of crackling fire. Without thinking, Sarah dropped her cup and ran. The heat hit her like a wall as she pushed through the building's door. Smoke filled her lungs. She climbed the stairs, feeling her way along the peeling wallpaper. The crying grew louder. In a small apartment, she found him. A boy, maybe 4 years old, huddled under a table. His wide brown eyes were streaming with tears. Sarah grabbed him, wrapped him in her thin jacket, and held him close. "I've got you, sweetheart. Close your eyes." She moved faster going down than coming up, the flames closer now, angrier. Her arms burned, her lungs screamed, but she kept going. One step, then another, then another. They burst through the door just as the fire trucks arrived. Sarah fell to her knees on the pavement. The boy still clutched in her arms. Firefighters rushed forward. Someone wrapped a blanket around them both. The boy coughed and looked up at her. "Thank you," he whispered. Sarah managed a smile through her own coughing. "You're safe now. That's all that matters." Paramedics checked them both. Minor smoke inhalation. Some burns on Sarah's arms. Nothing that wouldn't heal. The boy was crying for his mother. Sarah held his small hand until a frantic woman in a business suit came running through the growing crowd. "Tommy! Oh, God, Tommy!" The boy pulled free and ran to her. Mother and son collapsed into each other's arms, both sobbing. The woman looked up at Sarah, mascara running down her cheeks. "You saved him. You saved my baby." Sarah just nodded, suddenly. Aware of her dirty clothes, her tangled hair, the way people were staring, she stepped back into the crowd and disappeared before anyone could ask her name. That night, Sarah returned to her spot under the awning. Her arms throbbed under the bandages the paramedics had applied. But little Tommy was safe. That was enough. Except it wasn't the end. 3 days later, a black car pulled up to Murphy's corner store. Sarah watched as a man in an expensive suit stepped out. He was in his early 40s, tall, with graying temples and kind eyes that seemed to be searching for something. Or someone. He spoke to old Murphy inside the store, then to the mailman, then to the woman who ran the flower shop. Each person pointed in Sarah's direction. The man walked toward her with purposeful steps. Sarah considered running. She'd learned that people in expensive suits usually meant trouble for people like her. "Are you the woman who saved the child from the fire?" His voice was gentle, not demanding. Sarah looked down. "I just did what anyone would do." "No," he said firmly. "Most people wouldn't have. Most people would have waited for firefighters. My name is James Crawford." The name meant nothing to Sarah. "That was my nephew, Tommy. My sister's son. She's a single mother, works 2 jobs. I was in meetings across town when it happened." His voice cracked slightly. "If you hadn't been there, if you hadn't gone in when you did, the firefighters said those extra minutes would have made all the difference." Sarah met his eyes. "He's okay, though. That's what matters." James knelt down beside her, not caring about his expensive pants on the dirty sidewalk. "My sister told me you disappeared before she could thank you properly, before we could help you." "I don't need help." "Everyone needs help sometimes," James said softly. 3 years ago, I lost everything. My wife, My daughter in a car accident. I almost didn't survive it. I own a technology company, employ 300 people, live in a house with 12 rooms. But none of that mattered when I lost them. Sarah saw the pain in his eyes. Real pain. The kind you can't hide. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I spent a year barely functioning. My brother-in-law, Tommy's father, he died in the military when Tommy was just a baby. So my sister and Tommy, they're all the family I have left. You didn't just save a child. You saved my reason for going on." Tears welled in Sarah's eyes. "I used to have a family too, a husband, a daughter. But I made mistakes. I lost my job, then our home, then them." James sat beside her on the sidewalk. For a long moment, neither spoke. "I can't give you back what you lost," James finally said. "But I can offer you a chance. I need someone to manage the music program at the community center I'm building." "My assistant found out you used to teach piano." Sarah shook her head. "That was a different person, a different life." "Maybe," James agreed. "But the woman who ran into a burning building? She's brave enough to start again." Sarah looked at her. Hands, remembering how they used to move across piano keys, teaching children to find beauty in music. "I'm scared," she admitted. "So am I," James said. "Every single day. But my therapist told me something that helped. She said courage isn't the absence of fear. It's deciding that something matters more than being afraid." He pulled out a business card. "This is my direct number. When you're ready, call. Whether that's tomorrow or next month, the offer stands." He stood up, dusted off his pants, and walked back to his car. Sarah watched him drive away, the card warm in her palm. She thought about little Tommy's trusting eyes, about the piano gathering dust in her memory, about second chances and whether she deserved one. 2 weeks later, Sarah made the call. 6 months after that, she stood in a bright room filled with donated pianos, teaching a class of children whose eyes sparkled with the same wonder Tommy's had shown when she carried him to safety. James stopped by sometimes, always bringing his nephew. Tommy would run to Sarah and hug her legs, chattering about his day. And Sarah, who'd thought she'd never smile again, found herself laughing. She'd learned that kindness isn't a transaction. You don't save someone expecting a reward. But sometimes, when you extend your hand to lift someone up, you find yourself being lifted too. The past still hurt. Some days were harder than others. But Sarah had learned that healing isn't about forgetting. It's about finding the courage to begin again. And every time her fingers touched piano keys, or a child mastered a difficult piece, or Tommy drew her a crayon picture, Sarah remembered that even in our darkest moments, we have the power to bring light. Sometimes you save someone's life by running into a burning building, and sometimes someone saves yours by helping you remember who you used to be and who you still could become. If this story touched your heart, please like and share it with someone who needs to hear it today. Subscribe for more stories about hope and second chances, and comment below about a time when an unexpected kindness changed your life. Your story matters too.